If you do something to help someone out or do something nice, then you are doing something for them. I baked a cake for my sister. I need to collect the mail for my grandma. Hey, can you grab those boxes for me? You'll see from these examples that this is an important one to know so that you can ask someone for a favor. Can you please do something for me? This is a helpful phrase, right? A helpful one to know. It's a really common expression. Can you help me? Can you do something for me? What's this thing's purpose? What's its function? What's it used for? Well, it's used for drinking and filling up with water. Remember that we use for when we're talking about a function or a use. We use the form for plus verb ing. What is it used for? It's used for drinking. It's used for taking. It's used for driving. Yeast is an ingredient used for baking bread. That camera is used for taking pictures underwater. So notice how the verb ing form is always following for. Okay, things are about to get a little trickier during this lesson. But before we do, I want to check that you've been paying attention again. We're going to recap on the different uses of for. Can you remember them all? Write them down in the comments quickly. You've got 10 seconds. We talked about the benefits, the duration or a period of time. We talked about helping someone, and we talked about the function and the use of something, right? So all of those situations were ones where you can use to or for. It's not a complete list. There are some other uses as well, but they are definitely the most common ones. Now, another very common use for these prepositions is one where both of them can be used, both to and for can be used, which is where things get a little trickier. You can use both to and for to talk about a reason or a motive. So that is to talk about why someone is doing something. For what reason are they doing it? But in this case, they are not interchangeable. You can't use either one in the same way. But luckily, there are some simple rules to remember that will help you to use them correctly. Use to when the motive or the reason is a verb, and use for when the motive or a reason is a noun. Make sure you write that down. That's a super tip. Let's check it out. Why is he studying English? He's studying English to apply for a job. Apply is a verb, so we use to. He's studying English for work. Now, work here is a noun, so we use for. So you've seen lots of common situations where we can use to and for. But now let's look at a few examples where you can use to or for. Both of them can be used correctly, but the meaning of each sentence changes. So this is where you have to be a little careful, okay? My assistant brought lunch to me. Okay, now remember, to is used to talk about destination or direction where there's movement involved. So in this example, lunch is coming to me. I'm the destination for lunch. My assistant physically carried the lunch and delivered it to me. Now, my boss brought lunch for me. So remember, for is used to do something nice for someone, right? Or to help someone with something. My boss brought it to me because he wanted to do something nice for me. Both of those sentences are grammatically correct, but using for or to changes the meaning, right? So you've got to be careful. I made a quick phone call to my mum. So to helps us to understand the direction of the action, the destination of my phone call. I called and my mum received my phone call. Now, I made a quick phone call for my mum. I'm doing her a favor now, aren't I? I'm helping her. I'm making a call to someone else because maybe my mum couldn't call them, or maybe she didn't want to for some reason. So I called that person for her to help her, right? Now there's a bunch of different situations where you can use to and for, but really trying to memorize all of those situations is a pretty difficult way to learn them. There are just too many, and it becomes really difficult and confusing to try and remember them all. Now, back at the start of this lesson, I said that learning to use prepositions in context is really important. It's the best way to learn to use prepositions correctly in English. Learning common collocations is going to be really useful for you. Like I said, it's best to learn prepositions with the verb or the noun that they're commonly used with. Have you heard of collocations before? It means when words are often together in a sentence. They appear often in that way. And so you often hear them together. They sound right. They sound natural. And if they're used incorrectly, they kind of sound weird or wrong. So memorizing or becoming familiar with collocations is a really good strategy to help you remember which preposition is the right one to use. So do you want some examples? Let's talk about some now. So with this verb, apologize, both prepositions can be used, but with different results. We can apologize for something, the action, or we can apologize to someone. So that's the person receiving the apology. He's calling to apologize for missing the meeting yesterday. He should apologize to his boss for missing the meeting yesterday. Okay, so you're sorry for missing the meeting, but you need to apologize to your boss. Your boss is the person that you need to apologize to. So try to remember these collocations next time you do something wrong, right? When you've messed up and you've made a mistake. Try testing them out. You apologize to someone or you apologize for something. Now we also travel to somewhere, right? We travel to Cuba for the holidays. Have you ever traveled to Europe? Okay, we use travel to, but we also use travel for when we're talking about a purpose or even a time. I'm traveling for 3 weeks, or I'm traveling for work, for the purpose of work, right? You apply for something, right? I'm applying for a scholarship. I'm applying for a new job. But we can also apply to a person, okay? We ask for something, right? I'm asking for a new backpack for my birthday. Ask for help if you don't understand, if you need it. Ask for help. We use belong to when we're talking about ownership or being part of something, right? Do you know whose dog that belongs to? The car that I smashed belongs to my dad's company. Notice that we don't use belong for, right? We also care for something or someone. I've taken time off work to care for my mum after her operation. We prepare for something, right? I need to prepare for my exam tomorrow. Can you please help me prepare for dinner tonight? There's a lot of people coming round. Now we use wait for something or someone, right? Wait for with a noun. I've been waiting for the bus forever. It's taking ages. Can you please wait for me? Right? We're waiting for something. But we can also wait to do something, okay? We can wait to buy, so wait to is followed by a verb. If you can learn and remember some of those collocations that we just talked about, they're really common, they occur all the time. well, then you'll be so much closer to using the prepositions to and for like a total pro. Actually, why don't you give it a go right now? Right now. Practice makes perfect, right? So in the comments, pick a few of those common collocations, the ones that we just talked about. Maybe challenge yourself a little by picking the ones that you haven't heard very much or you don't use very much yourself, but write a few sentences in the comments below. I'll be checking to see if you've got them right and give you some feedback if you need it, okay?